Welcome to another episode of How to DragonCon. My name is Kong and I will be your guide. Today we are going to talk about maps as well as the general overview of what you can expect in some of the different areas that make up the con grounds. I want to help orient you to all that because the whole layout can be very confusing and overwhelming. While I'm familiar with the basics after just going for so many years, there are still some nooks and crannies that even I still don't remember from year to year. So below I posted a link to an album with different images and maps that I found over the years. I hope it's useful to you. I will say I did not make any of them. I just kind of collected them and put them in one place so that you can use them for your own reference. Okay, so I encourage you, please pull one of them up, whichever one looks the prettiest to you. You can also use Google Maps if you like and follow along with me. Let's start with the big three host hotels in the middle with the Marriott, the Hyatt to the east of that, and the Hilton to the west. These three are connected with indoor tunnels, which makes it very convenient to go back and forth between them. Unfortunately, that also means that the highest concentration of foot traffic is going to be limited to these buildings. Directly south of the Hyatt, you'll see the Peachtree Center food court. This, of course, is a food court with a lot of fast food options. In addition, if you're taking MARTA, this is also where one of the exit points for that MARTA station will take you to. The Peachtree Center food court is connected to both the Hyatt and the Marriott with the tunnels, so it kind of forms like a little triangle. And finally, if you look to the north of the Marriott, you will see the secret food court, also known as the SunTrust Plaza. That is connected to the Marriott alone with a small tunnel as well. Now, if for some reason you don't want to step outside the whole time, maybe you're a vampire and we don't know it, the buildings that I've just talked about, that's going to be where you're confined to for the weekend. You never really have to go outside the whole time if you don't want to. But everything that I cover after this point, unfortunately, you will have to go outside, go into the sidewalks, the streets to find yourself the rest of the way. Now, let's briefly go back to the three hotels that I talked about just to kind of give you a brief overview of some of the big things that they may house and the general things that you can expect. Let's start with the Marriott. To say that this is the heart of the con, you would not be wrong. A lot of the big events happen here, especially the biggest panels with the large names from TV or movies. If they come, they are going to be in the Marriott Atrium Ballroom, which out of all the ballrooms across the hotels holds the most amount of people. In addition to that, epic photo ops, which is celebrity photo ops, the Walk of Fame, which is where you can meet the celebrities, get autographs, take table selfies, as well as the official con photographer for cosplayers, Brian Humphrey. All of them are in the Marriott Hotel. In addition to that, there are 4 main lobbies with a lot of open space and walking areas so that you can do just all the people and costume watching that you want. Random fact, the Hunger Games and the Loki TV series for the TVA scenes were filmed in the Marriott as well. So in short, this is where you want to go to see and be seen. Let's talk about the Hilton next. I think it has moved up to number 2 in recent years, in large part to the work of their staff. They've really gone above and beyond compared to the other hotels to really get into the spirit of the con. They've picked a theme, they've decorated it, the staff dresses up. We've had Stranger Things, Star Wars, Jurassic Park in recent years. And I think all their work's paid off. I think the crowding and the partying and the vibes have migrated to there more than anything in recent years. The Marriott's still the main hub, but a close second would be the Hilton. In addition to all that, the Hilton also has the infamous tiki bar Trader Vic's in its basement level. And the basement level, which is known as the Galleria level, is also a place to go if you just want to relax while still being inside, where there's not a lot of crowds. There are some small fan panels that happen down there, but otherwise it's a good space to kind of just get away from everything. Most notably about the Hilton, there are some large steps towards the back of the building that are outside. So a lot of the big groups of cosplayers will use those areas for photo shoots. There are some scheduled ones, which I'll post a link to that schedule below, so you can kind of check out who might be shooting what on different days. So certainly if you have a costume in that genre, you can go to that photo shoot. Otherwise, you can just go as an observer and check out what's happening. Now at nighttime, these steps kind of transform into a different area. There will be a live DJ, usually some pop-up bars, Same thing, there'll be another DJ and bars in the main lobby of the Hilton as well. So again, this is where it's kind of become more and more the party scene, especially at nighttime. As for the Hyatt, this used to be the jam when I started going over 10 years ago, but I think it's kind of slipped in recent years. Nevertheless, there is still a good bit to see at the Hyatt. It does have one big main lobby level for people watching and costume posing. It does have a few basement levels with large ballrooms, so a lot of the panels still happen there, including DragonCon Wrestling on Thursday night. The pop-up bars that they have are not necessarily themed, but they do have the buckets of rum that are kind of notoriously known with the con crowd. And in one of the basement levels, you have the art show, which is where a lot of the local and national artists that come by, they basically have like a museum and exhibit of all their works. And during the course of the weekend, you can actually go place bids on a lot of these works. And hopefully if you win, you can take home a one-of-a-kind piece. And last but not least, the Hyatt also has the Con Suite, which is really a free service that the DragonCon volunteers have offered. Anytime you go there, you should at least have some free drinks and snacks depending on what they're making in that given hour, ranging from peanut butter and jelly sandwiches to nachos and cheese. A lot of people still either don't know that this exists or can't find it. It is in the Hyatt. It is actually on the second floor, so not the main lobby where everyone checks in and is out down there mingling and socializing, but right above. So go look for the little corner coffee shop / convenience store, and right above it, that's where that con suite is. It's in that corner. The only way to get there really is, of course, you can wait on the elevators, but since you're only going up 1 stories, find some stairs in that corner, take it up, and you'll be right there. All right, let's go back to the map. And if you look and start from the Hilton and go 2 blocks south, you will come across to the Sheraton Hotel, which is the 4th of our host hotels. It's probably the most important one, being that that's where you need to go to pick up your badge. Whether you're doing a full weekend badge or getting a day pass, that is where you will inevitably have to go to present your little QR code on your phone or your printout receipt, and they will give you a physical badge to take with you. Fortunately, other than that, I don't really find myself returning to the Sheraton that much, just because the fan panels that are housed there, they're not really, up my alley. There's not really main lobby areas for costume watching either, so I think that's another hindrance to that hotel. There is a big ballroom, so certainly some of the main panels can be there. But other than badge pickup and the assortment of food trucks that are usually parked outside, I don't have a reason to return to the Sheraton most years. Finally, on the Westin, which is the 5th host hotel and unfortunately the furthest one away. To get to it, you're going to start from the Hyatt and walk down 2 blocks on Peachtree Street. You should eventually see it. The Westin actually has the most iconic look out of all the host hotels. It's probably the tallest glass-looking cylindrical building that you'll see in all of downtown, so just look up. The shiniest thing up there, if it's the tallest one, that's probably the Westin. Now, of course, being far away, it does have some of the drawbacks that, it's a bit of a trek to get over there, but that can work to your advantage. If there are some of the large panels that happen there, maybe not as many people are willing to make that walk, so that can certainly be to your advantage to go see a panel out there. Other than that, it does have some of the gaming elements such as tabletop, LARP, and werewolf. Okay, finally, let's talk about the America's Mart buildings. There's buildings 1, 2, and 3. If you leave the Hyatt and go east for 1 block on John Portman Boulevard, you should see all 3 buildings really in the same corner. 1 and 3, I believe this year will be used a lot for gaming, whereas building 2 is probably the main location that most people want to go to, and that's because it houses the massive dealer hall or vendor hall, which is where you can do all your geek shopping, retail therapy, swag collecting, whatever it is. This is where it's going to be. It's 3 massive floors full of all different shops and stores for you to check out. This can be like a half-day affair if you really want it to be. And on the 4th floor, you actually have a collection of artists that have brought their different products and prints. So it is still a store kind of area, but it's a little different than the first three because it's usually based on one artist's work and all the stuff that they brought with them. In addition to my album that I referred to earlier, I will also post a link to DragonCon and their section on the maps. It should kind of show the different levels and floors of each hotel. Of course, you can also find the same information in the app, and it's probably more updated from year to year. You may even find different maps that are not available on the website. Just as a brief note for this year in DragonCon 2022, surprisingly, we are 11 days out from the con and the app has already pushed out the first version of the schedule. So it's a rough draft, but if you go download the app and update it for the 2022 year, you should see a lot of the events start to fill in and you can start planning what you want to do with your weekend. I will say I'm pretty impressed that the sheer volume of things to do on Thursday has increased already. I haven't really looked at the other days, but there's a lot more to do Thursday during the day than I've recalled in other years. And I like to close out again by once again directing you to the DragonCon Newbies group. If you have a Facebook account, definitely join the group. It's full of great information and great tips for newbies. They also have different threads on maps and similar topics. More importantly, they actually lead some tour walking groups with veterans on Thursday afternoon. So it runs for several hours. If you have a chance to stop by one of these, I highly recommend it. It will give you a rough lay of the land, which is crucial to kind of have in your head. You don't want to be trying to figure out where it is you're going on the day that you need to actually get somewhere in a hurry. And by that day, there's a lot of crowds in your way. So if you can take advantage of the quiet early moments early in the weekend, especially if you have a tour guide, I would definitely recommend it. If for some reason in future years I actually have enough subscribers and viewers and you guys want me to host a tour, please feel free. I'd be happy to do it. If you have any other ideas, comments, tips yourself about the layout and the map of the con, please feel free to leave them below. If you've already looked at the schedule and you're excited about things you want to do, share that below as well. Thank you for watching, and I will catch you next time.